When you wake up in the morning, before you look at your phone, before you check the world, you gotta check yourself. Listen to me. The greatest power you can ever unlock is not in money, not in connections, not in luck, it's in believing in yourself. Because the truth is, you will never rise higher than the level of belief you have inside. Some of you got the talent, you got the skill, but you don't believe. And when you don't believe, it's like driving a Ferrari with no fuel. It looks good, but it ain't going nowhere. You gotta stop waiting for people to clap for you. Stop waiting for the world to validate you. Listen to me carefully. If you don't clap for yourself, who will? If you don't believe in your dream, why should anybody else? Believing in yourself is the difference between giving up at the first obstacle to fighting until the finish line. Belief is what turns failure into fuel, setbacks into setups, and obstacles into opportunities. So today I challenge you, bet on yourself, trust your grind. Have the courage to say I was built for this. Because once you believe nothing, no person, no failure, no rejection can stop you. When you look at the most successful people in the world, whether it's athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, or everyday individuals who overcame the odds, the one thing they all had in common was belief. They didn't always have the best resources. They didn't always come from privilege. They didn't always start on the top floor of the building. But what they did have was belief. And belief is the foundation of everything. You cannot build a skyscraper on weak ground. You cannot build a championship career on doubt. You cannot build a powerful life on fear. If you want to rise, if you want to grow, if you want to create a life beyond average, it all begins with believing in yourself. Now, I'm not talking about that shallow kind of belief, the kind that only shows up when things are easy. I'm talking about a deep conviction inside of you that refuses to let circumstances define your destiny. I'm talking about the kind of belief that doesn't wait for permission. The kind of belief that doesn't quit when people laugh at you. The kind of belief that pushes you to keep moving even when nothing in your life looks like it's working. Because the truth is, belief is tested in the storm, not the sunshine. Anybody can say, I believe in myself when the paycheck is good, when the crowd is cheering, when the opportunities are falling into your lap. But real belief is when your back is against the wall, when you're tired, when you fail more times than you can count, and yet you still tell yourself, I'm not done. I was built for this. That's the foundation of success. See, people think success is about talent. They think success is about connections. They think success is about money. But I'm telling you, talent without belief is wasted. Connections without belief lead nowhere. Money without belief vanishes. How many people do you know with gifts, with opportunities, with resources who still never went anywhere? It wasn't because they didn't have what it takes. It was because they didn't believe they had what it takes. And when you don't believe, you don't act. And when you don't act, you don't grow. And when you don't grow, you stay stuck exactly where you are. Belief is the foundation because everything else in your life is built on top of it. Your work ethic, your habits, your consistency, your drive, these things are fueled by belief. If you don't believe the effort will pay off, why would you keep going? If you don't believe you deserve better, why would you fight for better? If you don't believe your voice matters, why would you speak? Belief is the reason you take the first step, and it's the reason you keep stepping when the road gets hard. Let me give you an example. Think about a student who has a big dream of becoming a doctor. The classes are tough, the hours are long, the competition is fierce. What separates the student who makes it from the one who quits? It's not always intelligence, it's not always access. Many times it's belief. The one who believes, I can do this, I belong here. I will not quit until I get that white coat, is the one who keeps showing up, keeps studying, keeps fighting. The foundation of their success wasn't the books or the labs, it was their self-belief. Some of you right now are sitting on dreams. You've been thinking about starting a business, going back to school, writing that book, building that career. But you're stuck. You're stuck not because you lack ideas, not because you lack time, not because you lack opportunity. You're stuck because you don't believe you can do it. You've told yourself, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't have the right background, I don't have the right support. And because you don't believe, you don't move. But listen to me carefully. Belief is not about where you came from, it's about where you're willing to go. Belief is not about who doubted you, it's about who you decide to become. And belief is not about waiting until you have proof. It's about creating proof through persistence. When you believe in yourself, you unlock a power that people can't take away from you. They can fire you, but they can't fire your belief. They can reject you, but they can't reject your belief. They can laugh at you, but they can't laugh. Existence is yours. And that's why it's the foundation. A foundation. Because as long as you have it, you can build again. You can try again. You can dream again. Without it, everything crumbles. I'll never forget. Growing up, people told me I wouldn't make it. Teachers told me I wouldn't graduate. The environment told me the streets were going to eat me alive. But belief kept me moving. Belief made me wake up early when no one was watching. Belief made me study when no one expected me to. Belief made me say, I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to be somebody. And it wasn't easy, but because I believed, I acted. Because I believed, I acted, I grew. Because I grew, I succeeded. But it all started with belief. And that's what I need you to understand. Belief is not passive. It's not just words. It's not just positive thinking. Belief is action. If you believe you're going to get in shape, you don't just say it, you hit the gym. If you believe you're going to start that business, you don't just dream it. You write the plan, you make the calls, you grind every single day. If you believe you're going to change your life, you don't wait for permission. You move like you already know the outcome. Because belief creates motion, and motion creates results. But the danger is this. If you don't build your foundation on belief, you'll build it on fear. And fear is unstable ground. Fear will tell you to settle. Fear will tell you to shrink. Fear will tell you to quit. And if you build your life on fear, the first storm that comes will knock everything down. But if you build on belief, the storms will still come. The failures, the rejections, the setbacks, but your foundation won't break. You'll take the hit, but you'll stand tall. You'll bend, but you won't snap. Because belief gives you resilience. I need you to get this deep in your spirit. Belief is not a feeling, it's a choice. You may not always feel confident. You may not always feel ready. You may not always feel strong, but you can always choose to believe. You can wake up every morning and say, I may not know how, but I will find a way. You can say, I may not be there yet, but I will get there. You can say, oh, the world may doubt me, but I refuse to doubt myself. That's the choice. And if you choose belief every single day, that choice becomes a habit. And that habit becomes your foundation. Some of you are waiting for the evidence before you believe. You're waiting for the opportunity before you believe. You're waiting for the promotion, the degree, the applause before you believe. But it doesn't work like that. Success doesn't come first. Belief does. The foundation comes before the building. You can't wait to see it. You've got to believe it first. You've got to speak it before it happens. Walk it before it appears. Grind for it before it exists. That's the foundation. And let me tell you, when you build your life on belief, people notice. They see your confidence. They see your conviction. They see your energy, and they respond. Doors open for those who believe, because belief is contagious. When you walk into a room with belief, people want to know what you're about. When you speak with belief, people leave. People listen. When you act with belief, people support. But if you walk in doubting yourself, if you walk in unsure, if you walk in timid, the world reflects that right back to you. That's why belief is the foundation. It sets the tone for everything else in your life. So today, I'm challenging you to build on the right foundation. Stop building your life on excuses. Stop building your life on fear. Stop building your life on what other people said about you. Build it on belief. Believe that you can rise above your past. Believe that you can create something better. Believe that you can become everything you were destined to be. Because when you believe, you don't just change your future, you change your present. You wake up different, you move different, you talk different, and the world responds differently. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you don't have. I don't care what obstacles are in front of you. The moment you believe, you start building a new life. And yeah, it's going to take sacrifice. Yes, it's going to take sacrifice. Yes, it's going to take patience. But if your foundation is belief, nothing can stop you. The storms will come. The nights will get long. The failures will hurt. But belief will hold you steady until the sun rises again. So hear me clearly. You are not waiting on a miracle. You are not waiting on someone to rescue you. You are not waiting on a perfect opportunity. You are waiting on you. You are waiting to believe. And the moment you do, the moment you decide that you are enough, that you have what it takes, that you will not quit, that's the moment your foundation gets strong. That's the moment your life starts to change. Because self-belief is not just important, it is the foundation of success. And without it, nothing else matters. One of the biggest reasons people never reach their full potential is because they are too busy waiting for somebody else to tell they're good enough. Too many of you are sitting on gifts, sitting on talent, sitting on dreams, but you won't move until somebody claps for you. You won't move until somebody recognizes you. You won't move until somebody gives you the green light. And I'm here to tell you, that's why you're stuck. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you're not growing. Because you are seeking validation from people who don't even validate themselves. You are waiting for people who don't have a vision for their own lives to approve your vision. And the longer you wait, the more time you waste. Listen to me, validation is a trap. It's a prison that keeps you locked in mediocrity. Because when you seek validation, you give other people the power to define your worth. You hand over the keys to your future, and you let them decide how far you can go. You let them decide if you're talented. You let them decide if you're capable. You let them decide if your dream is possible. And if they don't approve, if they don't clap, if they don't celebrate you, then you shrink back. You doubt yourself. You start questioning if you even belong. That's a dangerous way to live. Because some of the greatest people who ever lived were doubt, were rejected, were overlooked. But they didn't wait for validation. They believed in themselves, and they acted anyway. Think about it. If Martin Luther King Jr. waited for validation, there would be no dream. If Steve Jobs waited for validation, there would be no iPhone. If Oprah waited for validation, there would be no empire. If Michael Jordan waited for validation, he would have quit after being cut from his high school team. The world told him to no, but they didn't need the world's approval. They didn't need permission. They didn't need validation. They knew who they were. And because they moved without approval, the world eventually had no choice but to validate what they had already proven. Some of you are living your whole life like it's an audition. You keep performing, hoping somebody will give you a role, hoping somebody will choose you, hoping somebody will say, "Ooh, you're the one." Well, let me tell you the truth. You don't need a role. You don't need a stage. You don't need applause. You need execution. You need discipline. You need belief. Because when you stop performing for people and start working for yourself, that's when things shift. That's when your life changes. Stop waiting for people to clap for you. Stop waiting for likes, for followers, for compliments, for recognition. The validation is not real success. Validation is empty. It feels good for a moment, but it doesn't sustain you. You can't build a life on applause. You can't build a dream on likes. You can't build your destiny on the opinions of people who don't even know what they want for themselves. That's why you have to dig deep and find validation within. You got to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I can do this. I was built for this. Because when you validate yourself, you don't need anybody else to agree. Let me be real with you. Some of the people you are waiting for approval from will never validate you. Not because you aren't worthy, but because your light exposes their darkness. Your drive makes their laziness uncomfortable. Your dreams remind them of the dreams they gave up on. And because they don't want to face themselves, they'll try to dim you. They'll tell you it's impossible. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll tell you to slow down. And if you're not careful, you'll take their words as truth and you'll bury your own gift. That's why validation is dangerous. Because when you depend on it, you put your future in the hands of people who are often broken, bitter, and blind to your potential. You've got to understand, every great leader, every great innovator, every great achiever was once misunderstood. At first, they looked crazy. At first, people laughed. At first, people doubted. But when you stop seeking validation, you give yourself permission to keep going anyway. And if you keep going long enough, the same people who doubted you will one day ask, how did you do it? The same people who laughed will want to work for you. The same people who ignored you will want to be connected to you. But you'll never get there if you quit just because they didn't validate you in the beginning. Validation is like quicksand. It keeps you stuck, sinking, wasting energy, but going nowhere. But when you free yourself from the need to be approved, You walk on solid ground. You move with clarity. You move with confidence. You move with conviction. And people can feel it. That's why you've got to stop checking who's watching. Stop checking who's clapping. Stop checking who's noticing. You've got to keep grinding, keep building, keep working. Because when you focus on the work instead of the validation, the results will speak louder than any applause ever could. Now, let's be honest. It feels good to be validated. It feels good to be recognized. It feels good when people tell you you're talented, when people encourage you, but that can't be the fuel for your fire. Because what happens when they stop clapping? What happens when nobody notices? What happens when you're doing everything right, but nobody says a word? If validation is your fuel, you'll quit. You'll run out of gas. But if self-belief, discipline, and purpose are your fuel, you'll keep going whether they cheer or not. That's what separates the great from the average. And the average people only work when they're being watched. Great people work in silence, in the dark when nobody is paying attention. Average people need a pat on the back to keep moving. Great people give themselves a pat on the back and keep moving regardless. Average people live for recognition. Great people live for results. And the difference between the two is that one is seeking validation while the other is seeking growth. So I need you to shift your mindset. I need you to stop begging for recognition and start building your reputation. Don't ask for permission to shine. Shine anyway. Don't ask for applause to start. Start anyway. Don't wait for a cheerleader. Cheer for yourself. Because when you own your value, you don't need anyone else to co-sign it. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of, and you know where you're going. There's a reason why a diamond is valuable, whether or not anybody recognizes it. You can bury it underground. You can hide it in the dirt, but its value doesn't change. And that's you. Whether people clap or not, whether people notice or not, your value doesn't change. Your value doesn't change. The problem is some of you don't see your own worth, so you're waiting for others to tell you what you should already know. But when you finally see yourself as the diamond you are, you stop chasing validation and start attracting respect. Let me put it plain. Stop needing to be chosen. Stop needing to be accepted. Stop needing to be validated. Choose yourself. Accept yourself. Validate yourself. Because the moment you do, you'll stop moving like a beggar and start moving like a big. You'll stop asking, am I good enough? And start declaring, I am more than enough. And when you walk in that energy, the world has no choice but to respond. So today, I need you to cut the cord. Cut yourself free from the need to be validated by your family, by your friends, by your coworkers, by your followers. Stop checking for their approval. Stop asking for their permission. Stop waiting for their applause. Your dream is yours. Your gift is yours. Your purpose is yours. And until you stop living for their validation, you will never live for your destiny. Listen to me carefully. Validation is not the key to success. Self-belief is. Validation is not the key to growth. Discipline is. Validation is not the key to greatness. Consistency is. So stop chasing what doesn't matter and start building what does. Stop seeking validation and start creating transformation. Because when you stop seeking validation, that's the moment you finally give yourself permission to win. Belief fuels persistence in a way nothing else can. Because when you believe deep inside that what you are chasing is worth it, no amount of pain, no number of failures, and no weight of obstacles can convince you to stop. Persistence is not something that just appears out of nowhere. It is something that is born from the conviction that what you are going after is possible. Without belief, persistence cannot survive. Because why would anyone keep walking a road they think leads nowhere? But when belief is there, when belief is burning in your chest, it becomes the energy that pushes you forward, even when everything else around you is screaming quit. There will be times in life when you will fail more times than you succeed. There will be days where you try and the results don't show up. Most people stop there. Most people say, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not capable. Maybe the dream is too big. But belief doesn't let you stay down. Belief whispers, get up one more time. Try one more time. Fight one more time. Belief gives you vision to see beyond the failure in front of you, to imagine a victory that could be waiting if you persist just a little longer. And persistence is nothing more than repeatedly showing up, even when it hurts, even when it's slow, even when it feels like nothing is happening. The only reason someone would continue like that is because deep down, they believe that persistence will eventually be rewarded. When you look at the people who have changed the world, you'll find stories of persistence built on belief. They were told no. They were told it would never work. They were told they were wasting their time. And yet, they didn't stop. Why? Because belief gave them the courage to face rejection. Belief gave them the strength to take another step. Belief gave them the discipline to keep moving when it looked like nothing was changing. Without belief, they would have accepted the no. They would have accepted the failure. But belief made them persistent, and persistence made them legendary. Think about your own life. How many times have you started something only to quit because it got too difficult? How many dreams did you let go of because the road was longer than you thought it would be? How many opportunities slipped away because you didn't persist? If you are honest, it wasn't the difficulty that stopped you, it was the lack of belief. Because when you believe, no obstacle is too big. When you believe, failure becomes feedback, not finality. When you believe, persistence is automatic because you already know the outcome is possible if you just refuse to quit. Belief is what takes persistence from being painful to being purposeful. Without belief, persistence feels like punishment. You keep trying and nothing happens. So you feel foolish, you feel drained, you feel lost. But when you believe, persistence feels like investment. Every hour you work, every time you practice, every rejection you face, every failure you endure, you see it as building towards something. You understand it's not wasted. You understand it's not meaningless. You understand that persistence is the process that shapes you into the person capable of handling the success you are chasing. There will be voices that tell you to stop. There will be people who tell you you're wasting your time. There will be critics who laugh, doubters who question, and haters who attack. If you don't believe, their voices will break you. But if you believe, their voices will only remind you why you must persist. Belief keeps your eyes on the goal, not on the noise. Belief keeps your heart strong when the journey gets heavy. Belief makes you deaf to the opinions of people who don't have the courage to persist themselves. Persistence is not glamorous. It is waking up early when no one notices. It is practicing alone when no one claps. It is grinding day after day with no guarantee of when the breakthrough will come. The only thing that makes a person continue in that space is belief. Belief is the fire that keeps burning when everything else is cold. Belief is the voice that says keep going when everyone else says stop. Belief is the reason persistence exists, because persistence without belief is empty effort. But persistence with belief is unstoppable momentum. You have to understand that success rarely comes to those who try once or twice and quit. It comes to those who believe enough to keep trying, to keep failing, to keep learning, to keep growing until the door finally opens. Every rejection is just one step closer. Every failure is just one lesson gained. Every obstacle is just one more test of how much you believe. And when you truly believe, you will persist through all of it because you know it's not about if it will happen, it's only about when. So many people are living average lives because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack persistence. They quit too soon. They gave up just before things could change. They stopped digging when they were only inches away from striking gold. And the reason they didn't persist was because they never believed strongly enough that success was on the other side. Belief is the difference between quitting in the middle of the storm and pushing through until the sun rises. Every single day you wake up, you are faced with a choice to keep going or to stop. That choice is made easier or harder depending on what you believe. If you don't believe in your dream, you will always find excuses to quit. But if you believe in your dream, you will always find reasons to continue. Belief fuels persistence, and persistence eventually creates results. The people you admire didn't just get lucky, they persisted. They persisted because they believed. Belief is the foundation that persistence built on. Without it, persistence is impossible. With it, persistence is inevitable. And persistence is what separates those who wish from those who win, those who dream from those who do, those who start from those who finish. If you want to achieve anything meaningful in your life, you have to believe. Believe so deeply that nothing can shake you. Believe so strongly that persistence becomes your lifestyle. Believe until the breakthrough comes, because it will come for those who refuse to quit. When you believe in yourself, you unlock the courage to take risks. to step outside of your comfort zone, and to embrace the unknown with confidence rather than fear. Life is full of challenges and opportunities, but most people hold themselves back, not because they lack talent, intelligence, or potential, but because they are afraid to take risks. They fear failing. They fear what others might think. And they fear the discomfort that comes with trying something new. But when you have that deep, unshakable belief in yourself, you begin to see risks not as threats, but as doors to grow, as chances to learn and expand who you are. Self-belief gives you the mindset that says, even if I fail, I will figure it out. Even if I stumble, I will rise again. Even if others doubt me, I will not doubt myself. That mindset changes everything because it removes the fear of the unknown and replaces it with the excitement of possibility. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It means being willing to bet on yourself when the outcome is uncertain. Think about the times in your life where you wanted to go after something, maybe a job opportunity, a business idea, a personal goal, or even a relationship. The safe option is always to stay where you are, to do what you've always done, to never stretch beyond your limits. But safety often leads to stagnation. Growth requires discomfort, and discomfort requires risk. Believing in yourself gives you the courage to choose growth over stagnation, progress over fear, and opportunity over regret. When you look at the most successful people in the world, you'll see that every single one of them took risks at some point in their lives. They stepped into uncertainty when the outcome was unclear. They launched businesses with no guarantee of success. They spoke up when it would have been easier to stay quiet. They invested in themselves when others thought they were foolish. What separated them from the countless others who stayed comfortable wasn't just talent. It was courage born from self-belief. They believed they had something valuable to offer. And that belief gave them the confidence to take risks others were too afraid to attempt. Others were too afraid to attempt. The truth is, risk is unavoidable. Even choosing to play it safe is a risk. You risk living a life filled with regret. A life where you wonder, what if? Risk never discovering your true potential because you never gave yourself the chance to find out. But when you believe in yourself, the risks you take stop feeling like reckless gambles and start feeling like intentional steps toward the life you want. You begin to trust that even if things don't go the way you hoped, you will learn, you will grow, and you will come back stronger. Believing in yourself also transforms your relationship with failure. People who lack self-belief see failure as proof that they're not good enough. They let one setback define them and convince themselves they can't try again. But when you believe in yourself, failure becomes feedback. It becomes a teacher, not a judge. You don't see it as the end. You see it as part of the process. You say, this didn't work, but I'm still capable. I still have value. I will take what I've learned and try again. That mindset allows you to keep taking risks because failure no longer has the power to stop you. Think about how different your life could look if you stopped letting fear dictate your choices. How many times have you said no to something you wanted because you were afraid of failing, of being embarrassed, of being judged? How many doors have you left closed because you didn't believe you had what it took to open them? Imagine instead approaching those moments with the courage that comes from self-belief. Imagine saying yes to opportunities that scared you, knowing that even if you stumble, you had the strength to stand back up. That's the power of believing in yourself. It allows you to live boldly, to live fully, to live without the regret of wondering what could have been. Taking risks also builds resilience. Every time you step into uncertainty and push through fear, you strengthen your ability to handle challenges. You prove to yourself that you can survive discomfort, that you can thrive in situations that once intimidated you. Over time, risks that once felt impossible begin to feel natural. You develop a kind of inner toughness that no one can take from you. That resilience becomes one of your greatest assets in life because it means no obstacle, no setback, and no failure can permanently stop you. Believing in yourself and taking risks is not about ignoring fear. It's about moving forward despite fear. Courage doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means you don't let fear control your actions. Self-belief whispers louder than fear. It tells you that the fear you feel is a sign you're stepping into growth, not a reason to turn back. It reminds you that fear is temporary, but regret can last a lifetime. Many people wait for perfect conditions before they act. They say, I'll take the risk when I'm more prepared, when I have more money, when I feel more confident. But the truth is, those perfect conditions never come. Waiting is often just another form of fear. Believing in yourself allows you to act now, to take the leap, even when you don't feel ready, because you trust yourself to figure it out along the way. That trust is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who simply dream. One of the most empowering truths about risk-taking is that every time you take a risk, you expand your belief in yourself. You create evidence that you are capable, that you can handle more than you thought. That evidence fuels your confidence, making it easier to take bigger risks in the future. It becomes a cycle. Belief leads to risk, risk leads to growth, growth strengthens belief. And over time, you transform into someone unstoppable. Ask yourself right now, what risks have you been avoiding because you don't fully believe in yourself? Is it starting that business you've been dreaming about? Is it going back to school? Is it moving to a new city? Is it pursuing a passion that others might not understand? Whatever it is, know this: every great achievement in history began with someone who believed in themselves enough to take a risk. Your future depends not on avoiding risk, but on embracing it with courage and faith in your own abilities. At the end of your life, you won't regret the risks you took that didn't work out. You'll regret the chances you didn't take because you didn't believe in yourself. You'll regret the moments you let fear decide for you. But if you choose to believe in yourself and step boldly into risk, you'll live a life full of growth, adventure, and fulfillment. And even when things don't go as planned, you'll carry the peace of knowing you live with courage instead of fear. So the power of believing in yourself is not just about feeling good. It's about action. It's about having the courage to take risks, to face the unknown, and to trust that no matter what happens, you are capable of rising, learning, and thriving. The risks you take today because you believe in yourself will shape the story of your life tomorrow. Believe in yourself enough to step into uncertainty, because that is where your greatest growth, your biggest opportunity, and your most meaningful victories are waiting. When you believe in yourself, one of the most powerful transformations that takes place is the ability to silence the doubts and negative voices that constantly try to control your path. Life is filled with noise, external criticism from others, internal insecurities that creep into your mind, and the heavy comparisons that society places on your shoulders. If you don't develop the courage to quiet those voices, they begin to dictate your choices, steal your confidence, and limit your potential. But when you ground yourself in a firm belief in who you are and what you are capable of, those voices lose their authority over you. It doesn't mean they disappear. It means they no longer have the power to control your direction. This is where true strength emerges. The strength to hear the doubt, acknowledge its presence, but still push forward with unwavering determination. Think about how many dreams are lost, not because people lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they allow doubt to become louder than faith. Doubt whispers, oh, you're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. You'll embarrass yourself if you try. And because that voice becomes familiar, people start to treat it as truth rather than what it really is. An obstacle meant to test their resolve. Believing in yourself gives you the courage to interrupt those lies. It allows you to speak back to that voice and say, I may not be perfect, but I'm capable. I may not know everything yet, but I can learn. I may stumble, but I will get back up. That kind of self-talk becomes your shield against the negativity, and over time it drowns out the destructive noise. Silencing doubt doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let fear disguise itself as fact. Every great achiever has had to confront moments when others laughed at their dreams, when critics said they weren't ready, when their own insecurities screamed louder than encouragement. The difference between those who succeeded and those who gave up wasn't a lack of fear. It was the decision to keep moving forward anyway. Believing in yourself is the fuel that allows you to step into arenas where people said you didn't belong. It's the courage to put in the work even when the results aren't immediate. It's the choice to keep your eyes on the vision instead of the noise. Consider the voices of society that often tell people to play it safe, stay in line, and not aim too high. The world has a way of trying to box you in, labeling you, and making you doubt your uniqueness. When you internalize those messages, you shrink your vision to match the expectations of others. But when you believe in yourself, you learn to break free from that mold. You learn to silence the external voices by amplifying your internal conviction. You stop asking for permission to be great, and you begin to give yourself the authority to pursue the extraordinary. That is where freedom began. Not freedom from challenges, but freedom from being imprisoned by doubt. There will always be people who question you. Some will doubt you out of jealousy. Others will doubt you because they cannot see past their own limitation. And some will doubt you simply because they don't understand your vision. If you listen too closely, their skepticism becomes contagious. It infects your mind and makes you second guess your every move. But when you have anchored belief in yourself, you recognize that their doubt is a reflection of them, not you. Their words don't define your potential. Their disbelief doesn't diminish your abilities. You learn to filter voices, taking constructive feedback, but discarding anything that doesn't align with your growth. That filter comes only from the confidence you build through believing in yourself. And it's not just external critics you have to silence. It's your own inner critic. The harshest words you'll ever hear aren't from strangers. They come from within. That little voice inside that reminds you of every failure, every rejection, every time you come up short. It tells you that history will repeat itself, that you're not smart enough, not skilled enough, not worthy enough. But here's the truth. That voice thrives on your past because it fears your future. It clings to mistakes because it knows your potential is greater than your setbacks. Believing in yourself allows you to respond to that inner critic with compassion and strength. Instead of letting it paralyze you, you use it as motivation. You say, yes, I failed before, but I've grown since then. Yes, I've been rejected, but I'm still standing. Yes, I have weaknesses, but I also have strengths that can't be denied. By reframing the inner conversation, you silence doubt without pretending it doesn't exist. Belief in yourself doesn't eliminate challenges, but it changes how you face them. Without self-belief, every obstacle feels like confirmation that you're not capable. With self-belief, obstacles become proof that you are on the right path, because only those who step into meaningful pursuits encounter resistance. That shift in perspective is crucial. When doubt tries to convince you to quit, belief in yourself reminds you that the struggle is temporary, but the reward is lasting. It teaches you to persist through criticism, through slow progress, through the nights when it feels easier to give up. Doubt thrives in hesitation. Belief thrives in action. The more you act, the quieter doubt becomes, because you're building evidence every day that you are capable. Think about the great athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, and creators of history. Every single one of them had to master the art of silencing doubt. They didn't succeed because the world was cheering for them. They succeeded because they believed in themselves when no one else did. They used criticism as fuel, rejection as redirection, and self-belief as their compass. They didn't wait for external validation to tell them they were worthy. They walked in that worthiness before anyone else could see it. And that's the same power available to you when you choose to believe in yourself. The journey to silencing doubt also requires surrounding yourself with the right environment. Self-belief is powerful, but it is also influenced by the company you keep. If you surround yourself with negativity, with people who constantly reinforce doubt, it becomes harder to stay grounded. But when you place yourself in environments where people uplift you, challenge you, and push you to rise higher, your belief strengthens. It becomes easier to silence the voices of doubt because you're not standing alone. You're standing with others who remind you of your potential when your own voice wavers. Believing in yourself isn't arrogance. It's alignment with your potential. It's not pretending that you're flawless. It's acknowledging your flaws while still choosing to move forward. Doubt will always exist, but it doesn't have to dictate the story of your life. The power to silence it lies in your daily choice to believe, to act, to push forward regardless of the noise. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you choose action over hesitation, you're teaching doubt that it no longer has a seat at your table. At the end of the day, the most important voice in your life is your own. If your inner voice is filled with self-belief, no amount of external noise can stop you. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, even the loudest encouragement from others won't move you forward. That's why the practice of believing in yourself is not optional. It's essential. It's the foundation that allows you to dream boldly, work tirelessly, and achieve what once seemed impossible. Doubt may knock at the door, but belief is the key that ensures it never comes in. And when you master the ability to silence that doubt, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Life is filled with obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected twists that can easily discourage anyone who does not have the right mindset. But when you believe in yourself, you unlock an incredible ability to remain resilient in the face of adversity. Resilience is not about never failing, never falling down. It is about developing the strength to rise back up, to push through the storms, and to keep going even when everything seems stacked against you. Believing in yourself transforms how you see challenges. Instead of perceiving them as walls meant to stop you, you begin to view them as hurdles meant to be crossed, as opportunities meant to refine your strength and test your determination. This resilience doesn't come overnight. It is built every time you choose not to give up. Every time you decide that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will rise again. When you lack self-belief, even the smallest obstacle can feel like a mountain. A rejection letter, a failed exam, or a lost opportunity might be enough to convince you that you're not capable, that success isn't for you. But when you believe in yourself, you don't let a single setback define your journey. You understand that failure is a teacher, not a verdict. You see rejection not as proof of your inadequacy, but as redirection towards something greater. Self-belief allows you to tap into resilience because it gives you a reason to continue even when logic tells you to quit. It reminds you that just because the path is difficult does not mean you are unworthy of walking it. Resilience born from self-belief also changes your relationship with time. When you do not believe in yourself, every failure feels permanent. Every delay feels like a death sentence to your dreams. But when you trust in your ability, you realize that setbacks are temporary and delays do not equal denial. You begin to see the long game. You understand that achieving something meaningful often takes time, persistence, and patience. Belief in yourself strengthens your endurance, allowing you to keep going long after others have quit. That persistence, that unwillingness to surrender, often becomes the very thing that separates those who succeed from those who fall short. Another powerful aspect of resilience fueled by self-belief is how it helps you reinterpret pain. Life is guaranteed to bring discomfort, loss, failure, hardship, and disappointment, but your belief in yourself turns that pain into fuel. You begin to recognize that the very moments that break others are the moments that can build you. Instead of seeing pain as punishment, you see it as preparation. Every challenge becomes a workout for your spirit. Every obstacle becomes training for the future. And every tear becomes a seed for eventual growth. Without self-belief, pain crushes you. With self-belief, pain strengthens you. Resilience is also about flexibility and adaptation. And that too is rooted in self-belief. When you believe in yourself, you are not rigidly attached to one method, one plan, or one route. You understand that failure in one approach does not mean failure in the entire mission. You adapt, you adjust, and you pivot because you believe that no matter the changes in circumstance, you still have the power to figure it out. People who lack self-belief often crumble when their initial plan fails. But those who trust in their own ability remain creative, resourceful, and determined. They don't just rely on circumstances aligning in their favor. They rely on their own capacity to find solutions. It's also worth recognizing that resilience is contagious. And when you believe in yourself enough to demonstrate resilience, you inspire more others around you. Think about how powerful it is when someone sees you facing your storms head on, refusing to quit, and still moving forward despite the odds. Still moving forward despite the odds. Your resilience becomes a light in someone else's darkness, showing them what is possible. This ripple effect is one of the most overlooked aspects of self-belief. It not only fuels your resilience, but also ignites it in others. The strength you build within yourself becomes strength that others borrow when their own faith wavers. One of the hardest things in life is facing repeated setbacks. But self-belief ensures that you do not confuse a not yet with an never. The resilient person understands that timing may not always align with desire, but belief keeps them ready, prepared, and moving forward until the opportunity finally matches their preparation. For example, countless inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders faced failure after failure before their breakthrough moment came. What carried them through wasn't just talent or skill, but the resilience that self-belief gave them. They trusted that their vision was worth the struggle, that their effort was not in vain, and that the story wasn't over until they succeeded. Resilience from self-belief also protects you from the destructive power of other people's opinions. The world is filled with critics, doubters, and voices that tell you what you cannot do. If you don't believe in yourself, those voices will define you. But when you carry self-belief, you develop an internal resilience that allows you to hear criticism without being crushed by it. You can accept feedback, you can face rejection, and you can even endure ridicule, but you will not let it shake your foundation. That resilience is the difference between quitting at the first sign of disapproval and continuing until you achieve your goals. Finally, resilience built through self-belief gives you peace of mind because you know that no matter what happens, you will not break. Challenges may bend you, they may stretch you, they may even bring you to your knees, but they will not destroy you. This assurance allows you to walk into uncertainty with courage, to pursue goals that seem beyond reach, and to keep climbing even when the summit is hidden by clouds. Believing in yourself arms you with resilience, and resilience ensures that nothing can stop you for long. It's not about never stumbling. It's about knowing that every time you stumble, you will rise stronger than before. Resilience, then, is not a gift reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural result of believing in yourself. It is the courage to stand tall in the storm, the strength to keep fighting in the battle, and the wisdom to see every setback as a step forward in disguise. When you believe in yourself, you become unshakable, unstoppable, and undeniable because resilience becomes your companion. And once you carry resilience within you, no force in life can permanently hold you back. You will rise again and again until you reach the heights you were destined for. When we talk about believing in yourself, one of the most overlooked but incredibly powerful elements is the importance of consistency and persistence. Too many people think belief is just a mental affirmation, telling yourself, I can do it once or twice, and expecting things to magically fall into place. But real belief isn't a momentary thought. It's a lifestyle. It's the way you show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when the circumstances don't look promising, even when people around you are doubting you. That's what separates those who dream from those who actually achieve. Belief requires you to show up consistently, to keep pushing forward with persistence until you begin to see results. Without this, belief fades into wishful thinking. Think about it. Every meaningful achievement in history was the result of someone who refused to quit. They weren't always the most talented, the most skilled, or the most connected, but they were consistent. They were persistent. They understood that progress comes little by little, through the daily grind, through the repetition, through doing the work when nobody is watching. Believing in yourself doesn't just happen in the moments of inspiration. It's proven in the moments of discipline. It's proven in the times when it's inconvenient, when you're tired, when you're discouraged. Every time you choose to keep moving, you're feeding your belief, strengthening it, making it real. The truth is, most people underestimate the power of consistency. They think success is about big, dramatic actions or overnight change. But in reality, it's the small daily actions done consistent that create transformation. Imagine going to the gym once and expecting to be in shape. It doesn't work that way. But if you go every day, even when you don't feel like it, over time your body begins to change. That's how belief works. Every time you take action, even small ones, you're proving to yourself that you're serious and your confidence grows. Persistence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Now, persistence isn't just about showing up. It's about refusing to let setbacks define you. Life will test your belief. There will be obstacles, delays, disappointments. People will criticize you. Plans will fall apart. The easy road is to quit, to say maybe it wasn't meant to be. But persistence says, I'm not stopping until I get there. That kind of determination is fueled by belief. It's the recognition that setbacks aren't permanent. They're just temporary detours. Every time you persist, you're sending yourself a message that your dream is worth fighting for, that you are worth fighting for. Consider the stories of athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. Many of them faced failure after failure before they broke through. What kept them going wasn't luck or even talent, but their unwillingness to give up. They believed that if they kept showing up, eventually the door would open. That's the essence of persistence. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun. But it's what builds unshakable self-belief. When you look back and see how many times you refuse to quit, you start realizing your strength. You start believing not just because someone told you to, but because you have evidence that you are resilient, that you are capable. Another important thing to remember is that consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Many people don't believe in themselves because they've broken promises to themselves too many times. They say they're going to wake up early, but they hear snooze. They say they're going to commit to a project, but they quit halfway through. Each time that happens, your self-belief weakens. But when you stay consistent, when you keep your word to yourself, you begin to trust yourself again. That trust is the foundation of belief. You can't truly believe in yourself if deep down you know you don't follow through. Consistency restores that integrity. It proves that your words and actions are aligned. Persistence also teaches patience. In our fast-paced world, people want instant results. They want success without struggle, rewards without sacrifice, but belief that lasts is built over time. Persistence forces you to grow, to develop endurance, to understand that real change doesn't come overnight. And in the process, you become stronger, more disciplined, more focused. Each day you persist, you're not just working on your dream, you're working on yourself. And that's what makes the belief so powerful, because it's rooted in personal growth, not just outcomes. There will be times when you won't see immediate progress. That's when many give up. But consistency is about trusting the process. It's about knowing that every action, every step, every effort is adding up, even if you don't see it yet. Belief means holding on to that vision, persistent even when the evidence hasn't fully appeared. It's like planting a seed. You don't see the tree right away, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface, roots are growing, foundations are being laid. Your persistence waters the seed until one day it breaks through. At the same time, persistence isn't blind stubbornness. It's not about repeating the same mistakes over and over. True persistence means adapting, learning, adjusting, but never quitting. It means if one door closes, you find another way in. If a plan doesn't work, you create a new one. Persistence is flexible but relentless. It bends, but it doesn't break. And that adaptability strengthens belief, because you begin to see that no matter what comes your way, you'll find a way to overcome. Belief fueled by persistence also inspires others. When people see your consistency, when they witness your refusal to quit, it motivates them to believe in themselves too. You become proof that persistence pays off. Your story becomes a beacon for someone else who is struggling, showing them that belief isn't just a concept. It's a lived reality when combined with consistent action. So, if you want to truly believe in yourself, commit to consistency. Show up every single day. Do the work even when it's hard. Keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. Refuse to let setbacks define you. Build trust with yourself through follow through. Be patient with the process. Adapt when necessary, but never quit. That's how belief becomes unshakable. Because it's not just a thought in your mind, but a habit, a discipline, a way of life. And in the end, you'll discover something powerful. Persistence creates fruit. When you look back and see how far you've come, when you recognize how many times you didn't quit, you'll realize you're stronger than you ever imagined. That realization fuels your belief like nothing else. You'll stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, I've done it before. I can do it again. That is the power of consistency and persistence. It's the engine that keeps belief alive, the force that transforms dreams into reality. And once you've experienced it, nobody can ever take that belief away from you. When you decide to believe in yourself and follow through with consistent action, you begin to realize that self-belief is not a single moment of motivation, but a lifelong commitment. The 8th keynote emphasizes that belief in yourself is not just about dreaming big or talking about what you want. It is about creating a life that aligns with those beliefs and putting in the work to make them a reality. Every single person has the potential to accomplish greatness, But the gap between potential and fulfillment is bridged only by belief, consistency, and resilience. When you stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start taking action, even small, steady steps forward, you begin to see the transformation that belief can bring. One of the biggest challenges in life is that most people do not fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or resources. They fail because they stop believing in themselves too soon. They stop before the breakthrough comes. Believing in yourself is not just a feeling. It is a choice you make daily, even when the evidence around you does not support your vision yet. It is the choice to get up every morning and move forward, even when your circumstances are discouraging. When you make that choice consistently, something powerful happens. The world begins to shift in your favor because your energy, your mindset, and your actions align with your goals. This belief is not meant to be blind optimism. It is about recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and still choosing to move forward with determination. Too many people wait until they feel fully prepared, until they have all the answers, until someone validates them. But the truth is, waiting will only delay your growth. Belief is built not in moments of comfort, but in moments when you take a risk and prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. Every time you take action in spite of fear, you deposit another layer of belief into your character. Over time, those deposits become the foundation on which your success is built. Consistency plays a vital role here. You cannot simply believe in yourself one day and doubt yourself the next if you want to achieve anything meaningful. The power of belief grows when you nurture it daily, with habits that align with your vision. Waking up early to work on your goals, studying when you feel like relaxing, practicing when you feel like quitting. These actions reinforce your belief that you are capable. They create a rhythm that drowns out self-doubt. Consistency is not glamorous, and it often feels repetitive, but it is the fuel that turns belief into results. At times, you will face rejection, failure, and setbacks. In those moments, belief in yourself will be tested the most. Many people see failure as proof that they are not good enough, but in reality, failure is simply feedback. It is an opportunity to refine your skills, adjust your strategy, and grow stronger. If you allow every rejection to weaken your self-belief, you will never move forward. But if you decide that each failure is part of the process, your belief will grow deeper and more unshakable. The most successful people in history were not the ones who never failed. They were the ones who believed in themselves enough to keep going when others stopped. Another critical element of this self-belief is self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters more than you realize. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, that you will never succeed, or that others are better, you are programming your mind to quit before you even begin. But if you choose to speak words of belief into your life, you empower yourself to move forward with courage. Saying, I can do this, I will get better, and I deserve success may seem simple, but these affirmations rewire your mind over time. They remind you that your belief is stronger than your doubts. Surrounding yourself with the right people is equally important, no matter how strong your belief is. If you are surrounded by negativity, constant criticism, or people who do not see your vision, it becomes harder to stay consistent. You need to create an environment that reinforces your self-belief. This could mean connecting with mentors, spending time with supportive friends, or immersing yourself in books, podcasts, or speeches that fuel your growth. When you feed your belief with the right influences, it multiplies. Conversely, when you allow negative voices to dominate your environment, they chip away at your confidence until you begin doubting yourself again. Believing in yourself also requires patience. In today's world of instant gratification, many people expect quick results, and when those results don't come, they give up. But real transformation takes time. A tree does not grow overnight. It takes years of being rooted before it bears fruit. Similarly, your belief must stay steady even when progress seems invisible. Patience allows you to keep working, trusting that your consistent effort will eventually pay off. When you accept that success is a long-term journey, you stop comparing your progress to others and focus on building your own foundation. The connection between belief and vision is powerful. When you believe in yourself, you begin to visualize your future more clearly. You see yourself achieving the goals you once thought were impossible. That vision fuels your actions, and your actions reinforce your belief. It becomes a cycle of growth. Without belief, vision is just a dream. Without vision, belief lacks direction. Together, they create momentum that can carry you through any obstacle. Sometimes, the biggest battle is not against the outside world, but against the voice inside you that says you can. That voice may remind you of your past mistakes, your failures, or your insecurities. But self-belief means you respond to that voice with action. You remind yourself of how far you've already come, of the challenges you've already overcome, and of the strength you already possess. You silence doubt not with words, but with proof by showing up, working hard, and refusing to quit. Belief in yourself also demands responsibility. You cannot believe in yourself and still blame others for your lack of progress. You cannot hold on to excuses and expect to succeed. True self-belief means owning your journey fully, your mistakes, your choices, your wins, and your losses. When you take responsibility, you gain control. And when you gain control, you strengthen your belief. Excuses weaken belief because they shift power away from you. Responsibility strengthens belief because it reminds you that you have the power to change your future. Another layer of self-belief is faith. There are times when logic and evidence won't back you up, when your situation seems impossible, when no one supports your vision. In those times, faith becomes your anchor. Faith is believing that what you are working toward is possible, even when it seems out of reach. It is trusting that your hard work, persistence, and resilience will pay off. Faith keeps your belief alive when everything around you tells you to quit. As you live with this belief consistently, you begin to inspire others. People watch how you carry yourself, how you face challenges, and how you keep moving forward. Your belief becomes contagious. It reminds others that they too can believe in themselves and chase their dreams. In this way, your belief not only transforms your life, but also creates a ripple effect in the lives of those around you. Ultimately, the power of believing in yourself is not about arrogance or pretending to be perfect. It is about acknowledging your worth, embracing your journey, and committing to growth no matter what. When you choose to believe in yourself, you stop waiting for permission, validation, or guarantees. You realize that the life you desire is within your reach if you are willing to stay consistent, resilient, and patient. Every step you take reinforces your belief, and every challenge you overcome proves that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Believing in yourself is the starting point of every great achievement. It is the foundation upon which dreams are built and the fuel that sustains you through difficulties. Without it, even the greatest opportunities will pass by unnoticed. With it, even the smallest beginnings can turn into extraordinary legacies. It is not enough to talk about belief. You must live it. You must make it a daily practice, a mindset, and a way of life. When you do, you unlock a power within yourself that no obstacle can take away. When we come to the end of this journey, it's important to pause and reflect on everything that believing in yourself truly means. At the surface level, it sounds like a motivational phrase, something you might hear in passing, or a cliche that people throw around without much depth. But when you strip everything away and look at life through its rawest lens, believing in yourself is not just a phrase, it is survival, it is purpose, it is resilience, and it is the foundation upon which every dream is built. Without it, nothing else stands. With it, you can push through storms, walk through fire, and still come out with your head held high. It is the invisible force that determines whether you stay stuck where you are or rise into the life you were destined to live. Think about the people who have changed the world, the individuals who created history, who left a legacy, who built something that lasts long after they're gone. None of them started with unanimous support. None of them began their journeys with the whole world clapping for them. In fact, most of them were doubted, dismissed, criticized, laughed at, or told they weren't good enough. What separated them from the rest wasn't luck or circumstance, it was belief. That deep, unshakable belief. That deep, and if nobody else could see it, they could. Even if the world said a no, they had the courage to say yes. Even if the odds were stacked against them, they trusted that the fire inside was greater than the obstacles outside. Believing in yourself is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending you're perfect. And it's not about ignoring your flaws. It's about knowing those flaws exist, but refusing to let them define your future. It's about acknowledging your weaknesses, but still moving forward with your strengths. It's about understanding that growth is messy, success is not linear, and the road to greatness is filled with setbacks, yet still choosing to take the next step. You see, self-belief doesn't mean you won't fail. It means that when you fail, you won't quit. It means that when life knocks you down, you refuse to stay down. It means that when everyone else says you can't, you look them in the eyes and whisper to yourself, watch me. There are moments in life when doubt creeps in louder than belief. Moments when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on your shoulders, when fear makes your heart race, when the silence of loneliness convinces you that maybe you're not enough. But it's in those very moments that belief matters most. Because when there is no applause, no encouragement, and no one else to remind you of your word, all you have is the voice inside your own head. If that voice is telling you to keep going, if that voice is whispering, don't give up, you've got this, then you are unstoppable. You might not reach the finish line tomorrow, but you will keep moving forward, and forward is all that's required to eventually arrive. Belief creates vision. Belief creates momentum. Belief transforms the impossible into the possible. When you believe in yourself, you give yourself permission to try. You open doors that doubt would have kept locked. You raise your standards, you build your habits, you invest in your growth, and you start attracting opportunities that once seemed out of reach. Belief is not passive, it's active. It shows up in the way you work, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you respond to challenges. It influences every choice, every sacrifice, every decision that ultimately shapes your destiny. You have to understand something. Life will not hand you belief. It will test you, it will challenge you, it will push you to the edge, but the belief has to come from within. It's a choice you make daily. It's a decision to keep trusting yourself even when you don't have all the answers. It's a mindset that says, I am still becoming, I am still growing, I am still growing, I am still learning. And because of that, I am capable of more than I realize. When you carry that belief, you stop measuring yourself against others because your race is yours. You stop waiting for permission because you realize your dreams are valid. You stop doubting your potential because you know that with enough discipline and consistency, you can build the life you want, brick by brick, day by day. The beauty of believing in yourself is that it not only transforms your life, but it inspires us. Your courage gives permission for someone else to find theirs. Your resilience shows someone else that they can rise too. Your determination plants a seed in someone else's heart that maybe, just maybe, they're capable more than they thought. And that ripple effect can change families, communities, generations, all because one person made the decision to believe when it would have been easier to quit. So as we conclude, remember this: life is going to keep throwing challenges your way. There will be rejections, failures, and setbacks. There will be moments when you question your worth, when the journey feels longer than you expected, when a mountain seems higher than you imagined. But in those moments, belief is your anchor. Belief is what will keep you grounded when the storm rages. Belief is what will lift you back up when the world tries to drag you down. Belief is what will carry you forward when everything else tells you to turn back. You are capable. You are worthy. You are enough. Not because the world says so, but because you choose to believe it. And the day you fully embrace that truth is the day everything changes. That's when your confidence grows, your vision sharpens, your energy multiplies, and your actions align with the person you were meant to be. That's when you stop settling for less and start reaching for more. That's when you finally step into the life that has been waiting for you all along. The power of believing in yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, you'll forever be at the mercy of doubt, fear, and other people's opinions. With it, you'll be unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable, and unbreakable. You may not control every outcome, but you will always control your effort, your mindset, and your decision to keep moving. That is the essence of belief. So as you walk away today, carry this truth with you. Your belief is your superpower. Protect it, nurture it, feed it, and never let anyone take it from you. Because as long as you keep believing, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can hold you back. Your journey is waiting, Your greatness is waiting, and the world is waiting for the version of you that fully embraces the power of believing in yourself.